New numbers from Fox 45 News, the Baltimore Sun, University of Baltimore poll show what's driving voters this election season. According to data, crime and public safety are the top issues for voters. In Baltimore City, 42% say crime has increased compared to 4 years ago. Meanwhile, 28% said crime has decreased, with 27% saying crime has stayed about the same in the last 4 years.
There's a little bit of a dynamic setting up in the race overall, where you have 40% of the voters now who think the city's moving in the right direction and 40% of the voters who think the city's moving in the wrong direction. But that number is completely different from what it was 4 years ago. In 2020, it was 65% wrong direction and 17% right direction.
Juvenile justice issues were also addressed in the polling. During the legislative session, lawmakers decided to expand the jurisdiction for the Department of Juvenile Services, adding more charges for children between the ages of 10 and 12 years that they can face, like handgun violations. They also approved utilizing the Child in Need of Supervision, or SINS petition process, for kids in the same age range accused of stealing a car for the first time. And according to the poll, Maryland remains somewhat split on this issue. 48% say they support implementing more support services. 43% say they support tougher penalties, with 8% not sure.
Now, when it comes to quality of life crimes like car thefts, we are seeing an increase across the city. According to the latest city police data, there have been about 2,000 thefts, which is up 41% from 2023, with historically high numbers. Mayoral candidate Sheila Dixon is addressing those quality of life crimes, prioritizing resident safety as the election gets closer.
The mayor keeps touting that crime is going down. Murders have gone down a little, but that's not the issues that impact most of the people in the city. And yes, we don't want to lose one person to a murder. We've got to keep people here in the city, and that's how we keep them here, by dealing and addressing quality of life crime.
And when it comes to the mayoral race, the data shows a tight race between Mayor Scott and Sheila Dixon, with a 4.3% margin of error. Mayor Scott is pulling at 38% of the vote, with Sheila Dixon just behind at 35%. Political analyst John Deedy says if Governor Moore decides to endorse one of these candidates, it could completely change the dynamic of the race.
I think Bates's endorsement for Sheila Dixon, a very good thing. The question is for the Scott campaign, as we get further away from the Key Bridge collapse. One of the polls that was done right afterwards had like an 8-point lead. This last poll shortened it up just a little bit. So I think that's going to be a very interesting dynamic the next, less than 4 weeks, where everything plays out. And crime's going to be the big issue.
19% of voters say they are still undecided, which means candidates still have time to sway them. Early voting begins May 2nd, runs through May 9th, with Election Day on May 14th.
Looking at education right now, the blueprint for Maryland's future. Under the law, pre-kindergarten access will be expanded and teachers will get salary increases. College and workforce readiness opportunities will increase for students, and there will be more support for students who need it most. According to the poll, the plan is widely favored by Marylanders, with 72% saying they support it, 14% oppose the blueprint, and 14% are unsure.
It's pretty surprising to me that universal pre-K is the thing that people would go after. So you wonder if there's discussion going on in local school districts around the state that's causing people to feel this way. There's pressure. If we're having to create a universal pre-K, we have to find personnel to staff that, and space, and other things. Money for all of that. The resource need is pretty great. That was interesting to me because pre-K has been a national movement. It's been something that's been talked about for quite some time.
During the session, state lawmakers were faced with the structural deficit and the strain on local budgets because of the plan. According to the poll, 44% said raising their taxes to help pay for the plan would be enough to vote against their lawmaker. 34% said it wouldn't be. 22% remain unsure.
When it comes to the race for U.S. Senate, Larry Hogan is leading both his Democratic competitors in a possible general election matchup. Our poll found that in a potential Trone-Hogan race, 53% of voters are backing Hogan, 40% support Trone. In an Alsobrooks-Hogan matchup, the former governor's lead grows even larger, with 54% people picking Hogan to just 36% for Alsobrooks.
Hogan's very popular. And one of the reasons he was very popular as governor is because for 8 years, Democrats rolled over and played dead for Hogan. They would criticize him one afternoon at a press conference and then work with him later in the afternoon. They never successfully hammered at him, which made him a more popular figure. And his high poll ratings plus help he'll get from the RNC will make this a very competitive race. In the end, he may lose because of national political issues, but he's in a good position.
2 days from now, Fox 45 News will host a U.S. Senate candidate forum with the Baltimore Sun and University of Baltimore. Congressman David Trone and Prince George's County Executive Angela Also Brooks will debate each other. Mackenzie Frost will be on the panel, and I'll moderate. You can watch that candidate forum live Friday at 8 p.m. Then stay tuned with us for Fox 45 News In Depth with Mackenzie Frost. I'm Kai Jackson. Thank you for watching. Here's another video to watch. Also, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel.